All right. Hello and welcome, friends. I am Amanda Lee Anderson, your host, aka Empty Nest Board Mama on the Gram. And today, for episode 10, I got two guests. And I'm so excited. This is my first time having two guests on. I'm going to make the joke. I said I wasn't, but it's my first threesome. So here we are. I have Nick and Micah from Tortugas Games. They have a game live on Backer Kit right now, Red Tides, A Tale of New Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And they are here to first have a seat and tell me all about themselves. I'll let you guys duke it out, whoever wants to go first.
Okay.
Let's hear it, Nick. What you got?
Yeah. Oh, man. I was... I live in Brooklyn, New York. I've lived I kind of grew up in the Southeast, not too far from where you're at, Amanda, over in Orlando. Went to school with this guy for university. And once I left Florida, I kind of never went back. But I've lived in Mississippi, Texas, Ireland, Maryland, Missouri, Georgia, and now Brooklyn. And I've kind of been making my way up the East Coast, it seems. Okay. So next is either like Maine, Boston, or I'll just keep going all the way up
Canada.
To Canada. I worked in the video game industry for I think 16 years and kind of the back end. I started as a game master for World of Warcraft as a temporary job while I looked for a real job, and just loved it so much. It was crazy. Had a great time, and left the video game industry after working for Rockstar Games for 6 or 7 years. It's coming up like 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August, which really gave me the time to get back to working on this project that Micah and I have been working on. So,
Awesome. So currently in New York, originally from...
yes, originally I was born in Georgia, but...
Georgia, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so currently in New York, you guys went to school together. Okay, yeah. Micah, your turn.
I jumped the gun there. I'm a Mississippi guy. Contrary to popular belief, we do have electricity and shoes over here. I've pretty much lived in Mississippi my whole life. I'm kind of out in the country in Mississippi. Got a little plot of acreage, no mules, but
you do have a tractor, though.
I do have a tractor.
But not a barn to put it in.
Don't have to play Farming Simulator. I can do it live. I do often. I basically been in Mississippi my whole life. Got two twins, or a set of twins, I guess is how you should say that. It'll be 13 this summer. Been married for going on.
Don't get it wrong.
17 years, something like that. So yeah, no, I've been married about 17 years. Sorry, ladies. Artist and designer by trade. Been an artist my whole life. Went to school for art and went back to school later for graphic design. So I do art and graphic design. I have for about 20 years now. Like Nick said, went to college with Nick. He was my roommate, one of three best friends throughout our whole time there. And it's awesome. Yeah, no, we've just kept up ever since. And a lot of that has been our love of games, video games, and board games. So.
Yeah, I actually slept under Micah's bed illegally for a semester while I got my scholarship back. So,
we didn't have the art to kick him out,
I had a little too much fun one semester, and my GPA dropped below where it should, and I needed to take one class to get it up. And I don't even know how it came about, but we had the bright idea to just I'll just crash in your dorm room for an entire semester. So
that's right.
So were you random paired roommates then? Just the school put you guys together your first as freshmen, or?
So yeah, I started at a community college nearby, and my buddy Steve, who I've known since diapers, was like, "Hey, you should go to where I'm going to school." And I was like, "Sure." I didn't really have a life plan, and so I was like, "Yeah, I'll go there." He's like, "You can be my roommate," and so we roomed together that first semester, and then met Nick. and
Yeah,
started hanging out. And
I was the the I don't know how to describe it, but since I had gone to high school in Florida, I had a very sort of Florida aesthetic, I guess. And so in small town Mississippi, I was I just stood out, I guess, is the best way I can think about it.
The surfer beach boy type?
Yeah, kind of.
The...
And it was the early 2000s, so there was unfortunately a little boy band kind of feel going on. Some of those pictures. There may have been a puka shell necklace. It's not. I'm not happy or proud of it. But,
sandals,
Were you choreographing dances in the dorm room?
Now it was more the look.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't aspiring. I'll say that.
We did cut our fair share of rugs.
That's true. That's true.
Frosted tips.
Yeah. But I will say, I thought I was like, I'm not going to do it like everybody else. I'm going to do it cool.
Oh.
And so what I actually did was I like peroxided my hair. And then it was just like some weird orange color that I then just let grow out. And so it eventually became frosted tips. But I didn't,
awesome.
I didn't want to get
that.
But so I got paired with random people. I had different people like for 3 semesters in a row, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met those guys and was like, oh man, too bad there are three occupant rooms. That would be awesome. And then we just made that happen. So yeah, so I guess it was a good idea. We're still sitting here, still talking. So
absolutely
awesome. So so you paired together that way? You've known each other all your lives. Tell me about the board game background. Have you been board game players? Did you guys play D&D back in college? Like what was
yeah. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so my first introduction to games would have been late 90s, probably 96, and it would have been Star Wars CCG by Decipher. So unless you're really into like TCG, CCGs, you probably don't know about it. No. But I was obsessed with it. I went to my first tournament where I learned that some people have disposable money. I spent 8 hours getting crushed by the people like who are now me, like the middle-aged guys, like who had as the hobby.
You were on the ramen budget.
Oh, it was so bad. The first guy I played, he pulled out 4 of a card that I only owned 1 of, and I just started doing the math in my head, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think this deck is more expensive than my entire. I just didn't know how to swat. That was fine. My mom had dropped me off. I didn't have a way to get home, so I just had to get beat up for 8 hours. I
love it.
So it's kind of shocking that worked, but so that's where I started, as well as like RPGs. West Side Games had an RPG for Star Wars. It was a D6 system. They actually re-released it, and I bought it again 20 years later, which is fun. It's somewhere on my shelf. But so I was into those things, but I just didn't know, like no one else I knew was. Yeah. And so I was always trying to get my friends to play these games with me and whatnot. And then when we got to college, the RPG stuff kind of continued, but we didn't do a lot of D&D. We would do like Wheel of Time. Like Wizards had a Wheel of Time D20 version. So they had all read the books. I read the books, and so we tried that out. Oh yeah. And so we played games and stuff like that, but it was more video games in college because sort of, I guess like what I think was like Euro games had not really made it over. I played Settlers of Catan after I left Mississippi and moved down to Austin, Texas. And I was trying to explain to people, no, look, there are these games. Like there's people like in Germany who play games about farming. And they were like, what is this weird stuff? And so I was just sort of obsessed with it. I was doing Warhammer and a few other things like that, but kind of like as many people experienced it, it kind of started with Settlers of Catan and I mean, we did play other games. Like we did, oh my gosh, Axis and Allies. That was like a hardcore game in our mind at the time. We were like, look at all the pieces, and a few things like that, but it had just not gotten as big. And so our kind of creative connection started outside of games. Like we started, so Micah was a musician, or probably, I guess once a musician, always a musician. And I was writing, and we actually worked on a graphic novel. Was the first thing that we worked on together, where he was the illustrator and I was the writer. And, you know, we never finished it.
You know, you just gave me an idea, so maybe we finish it. Who knows?
Oh yeah. I
know we should.
Yeah, it was like a steampunk. It's called Pneumatica, and it was like a steampunk something. And that's
pull it out. Let's see the drawings.
Yeah. I've got it right here somewhere.
Dust it off.
I really do.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, so that's kind of how we got into gaming originally, kind of my background. I mean, Micah, that's my little offshoot, but presumably you had some things.
It's funny, you know, what he was talking about with the Star Wars TCG. That was my experience as well. Kind of got into that early on. I was always so much more of a collector of things that I thought were pretty. And TCGs are very dangerous from that perspective. It's like I got to have it all, and this looks really good, and like. And so I had these, and I had these boxes of just these Star Wars cards, and I would buy them, and I'd put together some decks. I played a little bit, but not nearly as much as Nick did. Also, you know, in the early 2000s, it's kind of funny. I don't even know that I've ever told you this, Nick, but got a copy of Pirates Cove whenever it came out back in like 2002, 2003. Loved it. Had so much fun. It's always buried in the back of my head. I played a few games with my dad every now and then. It was something that we could kind of play and bond over a little bit. And from there, I played a good bit of the World of Warcraft released there. Like, I don't know, it was a TC.
The TCG?
Yeah, it was a TCG.
Yeah.
And you know, you could buy different classes with different armor sets. They had these raids. You can go and do like raids.
It was actually a really good game. I was very upset whenever Cryptozoic lost the license.
It was pretty cool. Like you defeat a boss in the game, and it had a loot pack, and you would literally open up the loot pack after you'd beaten the boss, and you would get the cards, and you could distribute the loot amongst the party. Like, it was really cool.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job.
So yeah, and like Nick said too, you know, we played a lot of just sessions playing RPGs and just making up stories in different universes and worlds depending on the system. And we've done a lot more of that in recent years as well, doing some Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, and even played some Warcraft system stuff. I'm still a bit of a Warcraft player, video games. I love MMOs. It's a problem, but
I mean, I didn't realize how. I started playing World of Warcraft in beta, and I would like to take credit for introducing everyone else. I'm pretty sure that I did.
Definitely did.
And so then we got into it, and we played very hard. My first responsibilities for other people was in our guilds. Whenever I was the guild leader for a while. And I ended up stopping that because I was like on the phone, because cell phone, it was like a Nokia 3390 or whatever, like, you know, pre-iPhone, on a beach. And I was mediating like a relationship problem between two guild members. I said, this is crazy. I can't do this anymore. And so I pulled back, and Micah took over. But that experience as a guild master was instrumental in actual like management positions I had later, because it's all the same stuff. Like running a high-end rating guild, it's a collection of people with a common purpose, trying to do hard things with different roles, and all the humanity that just like pours out of that. But
look at that. Put that on the resume.
Yeah, well, it legitimately, it was like, I have already dealt with this. But the reason I mention is that Micah says he's a World of Warcraft player. Well, I kind of stopped playing as much, especially as I worked for the company more and did more things. I kind of fell out of touch, and I came back a couple years ago and was like, okay, it's a completely new game. And then I realized Mike is not just kind of a World of Warcraft player. He was literally like in the top 1% for his class, like in the world.
Wow. Is that just mean
Um,
he's put a lot of time in?
So it is
Or a lot of
definitely
money?
time. It is time. Luckily it's not money.
Yeah.
Like World
Okay.
of Warcraft is not
Just
pay to
time.
win. It is
Right.
you have to do the work.
Okay.
So it is the time, but it's also like he's so anyway,
enjoy
I
it.
just don't want him to act like hey, I play a little World of
Like
Warcraft.
I
It's like,
dabble. He doesn't
yeah,
dabble.
exactly. He
He's
is
not a dabble.
it is
I enjoy it. And
Yeah.
what the coolest bit about this, and it's a tie for board games as well, is like you don't always get to be around the people you want to be around all the time. Like I even think about
yeah.
going to board game conventions and getting to meet
Yeah.
people and like see friends that like, we've done that, and we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, so many of the people that I still play Warcraft with, I've known in the game for 16 plus
Yeah.
years.
Wow.
And been playing together, and
Gone to
many of them,
weddings and
Like people that were strangers just
Right.
playing online together, and you've
Right.
met. Oh, I love that.
I
love
literally
that.
officiated a couple's wedding.
Oh,
I first met
so
online.
awesome.
So it's great. Yeah, it's really cool. So like, yeah, doing it for the people around. It's always enjoyable.
Yeah, the community around gaming and board games and gaming in general. That's what actually brought us here today. We could tell our story. I was telling Nick earlier, but Micah and I met at the airport last year on our way to PAX in December. And I was wearing my Ninja Turtle backpack that I wear to every convention. And he was like, "Oh, you look like somebody who likes turtles," and gave me the Tortugas Games, sticker, and told me a little bit about the game. I was like, "Oh, you must be going to PAX." And
That's right.
Yep. So I learned a little bit about Red Tides. We just could not make the connection that weekend. We were both so busy.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted to play, but here we are. So
it's amazing.
It all worked
Yeah.
out. But yeah, just the connections that you make and the friends and the people that's really why I started this podcast as well. It's really just, I love games. I've become a collector. However, I'll say I am more of a collector than a player, because I made a list, and I'm teetering right at about 50% on
above or below.
Look, that's a
well, I did start another content creator on Instagram started a backlog burn July hashtag with the challenge of playing a different game from your shelf of shame every day in July.
Oh, wow.
So I've been I missed a couple of days this week just with work and everything, but I've knocked about 5 of them out so far.
Very good.
So
That's awesome.
probably just under 50%.
By the end of the month, though,
I'm hoping.
I'm sure you'll be
over.
Yeah.
But with Prime days, it's kind of
oh no, yeah. It's like what? Time to bump that number back up.
one out, one in, one.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'll say, you were talking about that that random experience of meeting people. I mean, I absolutely adore the board game community for that. Like,
I love it.
It is like that you can just walk up and it like, I live in New York. It doesn't feel that way all the time,
Right.
but that has been great. But I'll say the conversation you guys had, Micah came to me and said afterwards, he was like, "Hey,
This crazy chick in the airport."
no, it was a very positive thing. And I don't even remember what you guys talked about, but it was a bit of encouragement when we we still have no clue what we're doing really, but just at the kind of the state that we were, the encouragement that you provided, like it was fuel for us. So, kind of to close the circle on that, that serendipitous meeting, and then the positivity that you brought there, like it spilled into the work that we are continuing to do today, which is super cool.
Yeah, I tried so hard to meet up with you guys because I really wanted to see the game, but
no, you had an awesome weekend too, I know. And yeah, and it's and you've dealt with this too, like especially when you're trying to participate and be a part of a particular community and group. Like sometimes the internet is a difficult place to do that. People are multiple types of personalities depending on how you interact and what part. But by and large, like every single person that we've met, especially in person and at conventions, have just been great people.
Yeah, I've gone to 3-4 conventions in the past year, and I've gone to all of them by myself. So unfortunately, my husband has to stay home with the 4 dogs and 2 cats, and he lets me go play. So I've gone alone to all these conventions, and I've never had a bad experience. I've never felt unincluded. I've never felt, like, why am I here? Because the first convention I went to was the Dice Tower East in Orlando. And they have such a great system set up for their library and their games and the colored flags. And they say, green is looking for players and red's looking for teachers. And, just to be able to, I'm not extroverted by nature. I'm really not. Contrary to popular belief and the display I can put out there, I am very but
Same.
just knowing that the community was so welcoming, I didn't have any question about just walking up to a table,
really cool.
And a lot of times, if you just hover a little, I'd be like, oh, what are you playing? Oh, you want to sit down? And I'm like, yes.
Oh, we love that too. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I kind of lurk around on TikTok and stuff too. And it was a new thing for us over the past year to try to get on social media and really try to like share what we're doing. Like this is a kind of look at our day in the life. Here's our thing. Anyway, so I jumped in a live a couple of nights ago, and it was like Tabletop Hero and Zazu and Sonia from This Geeky Life, and like all those people were in there, and I just started talking to them, and it was hilarious because like they were like asking me questions and like kind of we're going back and forth, and I was like, I said, I'm pretty sure over the past 10 years, I've walked by all of you at least 4 times. And I was like, I promise I'll say hello this time at the convention.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit just real quick about some other games that you've been playing recently. If it's board games or, video games, what have you been dabbling in?
Yeah. So I've been playing Star Wars Outer Rim, Fantasy Flight game, got the expansion for. I try not to buy expansions because when I play a game, it's like that collecting side versus the playing, and then I buy everything, and then half the time it's too overwhelming to try and play the 3 expansions for the game. But played it with my kids. Like I said, I got 2 that are 12 and 1 that is 9, and they enjoyed it, which was just great. And I was like, hey, they got an expansion with new characters. You can play a new ship. And they're hitting that age where they're actually, it's not just the age, but they're at a point in time where they're actually really enjoying it. And so I've been playing that and enjoying it a lot. And then, going all the way back to Star Wars CCG, like I love card games. The thing is, I don't play Magic. So I'm like a weird card game player because everybody plays
You
Magic.
play the Star Wars Unlimited?
I did try Star Wars Unlimited. It wasn't quite my cup of tea. Like I like the design. I think it's interesting. But so the one that's really got me though is a game called Sorcery, which is if you haven't checked out Sorcery, the thing I will say is it has the goal is 90s style kitchen table fun as opposed to ultra competitive sleek. And so it kind of wears its warts as a badge of honor, which is cool. And then the second thing is that it has the art in the game is all 100% real art. So it's like it's physical art. It's not even digital at all. And the artists are Frank Frazetta did some of the work before he died. Like if you've ever looked at like Dragon Magazine over the past like 30 years, then a lot of those artists are involved. And so to me, it's like this combination of things that I love a ton. And in fact, for Gen Con, they're releasing a new mini expansion where a new artist is going to be signing. And that's my like key mark thing that I want to be there for and make sure we actually get it.
Is it a surprise artist or do you know who it is?
No, I know who it is. It's the one who did the they have a new Dragon mini expansion that's coming out. And, so anyway,
Dragon Lords. Yeah, it's
Dragon Lords.
Ed Beard Jr. is the artist.
Yeah. So those are the two main things. I definitely have. I've got a group I play with about every other week. Since we've been doing the game, it's been a little bit harder, but I finally got around to playing like Dune Imperium, and I beat everyone, which doesn't usually happen.
Ooh.
I'm usually kind of the guy doing the weird stuff, but had a good time with that. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll clock my answer as Outer Rim and Sorcery Contested Realms.
Awesome. I'll definitely have to look that one up. I want to see the art.
Oh yeah, it's
What
so
about
good.
you, Micah?
Yeah, I mean, I again, pretty avid WoW player most of the time, doing like Mythic Plus dungeons and things like that leading up to it. Nick and I have been getting together with some of our friends and running campaigns again. We're actually starting to build one that we're going to hopefully start at some point soon here. Nick's gonna come up with it. But I think still in the Star Wars universe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It's the Edge of the Empire TTRPG that was originally by Fantasy. I'm looking at the books now. That originally was Fantasy Flight. It uses the storytelling dice, which is a really cool system. If you haven't heard of those, it's now managed by Edge, which I don't know what else they do, but they now publish the books. But
I've actually
broken open
too, like on the board game side, and I got to meet the designer and publisher at where were we? PAX Youth, I think, for Winter Rabbit, which is a really charming, cool, like using Native American folklore and art. The artist Kendra Swafford is fantastic. Her work is amazing, and you're kind of like building out these stories and gathering, and like the artwork again. That's, you can tell as an artist I'm kind of partial to, is what got me about it. So been playing around with that at the moment.
Winter Rabbit, you said? Awesome. Definitely have to check that out. So let's talk about Red Tides. That's why we're here. Tell me all about it. So this has been 10 years in the making, correct?
I think we've been saying 10 years for about for 2 years. So I think it's closer to 12. I realized the other day, I was like, we've been saying 10 years, but I think
for
it's
a couple of
actually
years now.
12. Yes, for a couple
of years. So tell me all about it. How did it get started? What was the tell me the story.
All right. You called on me last time, Mike.
No, I got
you. Gotta go now.
Micah first.
I think it's actually kind of funny and semi-common. You're gathering, hanging out with your friends, doing your thing, enjoying the things you enjoy. And Nick and I got to talking. I went to visit him in Baltimore when he was living there at the time for the 4th of July. We were just hanging out in the kitchen after an evening, talking about stuff, talking about games. There's always mechanics and things you wish they would do differently. Like in some of your favorite games, oh, it'd be cool if it did this, or oh, what if they did that? And I was like, we should just make a game.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, what's it about? And I'm like, pirates. And he's like, yeah, it is. And that's literally how it started.
Okay. And how did we end up with 120 dice?
That's a great question. Like, I first and foremost, it was an idea of like, what are the things that we enjoy the most about games? Like, what are mechanics we love, or what do we think would be really fun to do? And how can we like synergize some of our loves and video games and board games? And one of the things that I'm always interested in doing, I know Nick is too, is like, you have an opportunity when you gather in this way with physical stuff to create an experience. And so how do you want that experience to actually feel? And we used to always lament how beautiful a lot of board game art is. And then how sometimes when you get it down on the table, it starts looking like spreadsheets. And you're like, wait, what happened to the theme? What happened to the art? Like, how do we? Yeah. And so it was just kind of born out of those things, like creating something that we loved and putting some ideas together. And we had some mechanics pretty solidly worked out really quickly. And then started iterating on what we wanted the art style to be, et cetera. I'll let Nick jump in.
So it was like pirates, and it was kind of like in improv, like whenever you say someone says something, you just always say yes, and then you say and. So we're doing a lot of yes anding early on, back and forth. And I had been playing a little bit of Memoir 44 at the time, and I don't know if you've played it before, but the way that the dice work is it just has a single type of die, and it has multiple symbols. But then there's the way that it works is what is attacking what thing. So X and Y, the attacker, the defender. And so the die doesn't change, but which results work change based on the attacker and the defender. So like if infantry is attacking a tank, then the only thing that works is like the grenade, where if infantry is attacking. And so I was like, wow, that's just a really elegant kind of system. And so I started thinking about that a little bit differently. And there's a video game from the 90s called Sid Meier's Pirates. You have a little ship and you go around the Caribbean and you try and shoot other ships and plunder them and things like that. And I was like, that game's awesome. Maybe we should do that. So it was like, why don't we roll dice, and then the dice will deal different types of damage.
Right.
So, because in Sid Meier's Pirates, you would swap between your cannons. You'd use round shot to hit the hole, from afar and maybe blow them up. You'd use chain shot to spin and hit their sails, which slow them down. Or you could use grape shot to hit their crew, which would knock their crew out. And so it was kind of those two things. And we just started playing with it. And I will say, one of the things that I always get disappointed in, not all board games, but certain board games, especially the ones where you're like engine building or base building, or whatever, it's like you do all this work, you get to the end of the game, and you feel like it stops right before you actually achieve that vision. And so I was like, man, what if there was like a culmination at the end, that instead of just like the game ending where it ends or whatever, but like you then test that engine, you've spent the entire game building this thing, and now you're going to find out. And so that was kind of, so pirate ship, we're going to put cannons on it, and those cannons generate your dice, and then you're going to try and outmaneuver them, and then you shoot them, and you're building up. And so this is where kind of the other thing comes in, which is like World of Warcraft and RPGs, is the journey is you're gonna go on this journey, and it's gonna take turns you don't expect, and it's some things gonna go well, some things are not. High drama, but you're thinking and you're trying to figure out how it goes, and then it culminates in this final battle. And so that's kind of the different origins of the different pieces there,
with beautiful art.
And I mean, what's crazy to me to think about now is we weren't even sure if Micah was going to be the artist at first, which is the craziest thing that I just can't even imagine the world. We were like looking at other people's art. But yeah, I do think that Micah's kind of like, I don't know the fancy, I say fancy words, but like he has such an articulate way of describing like just what art is to him and how that works, and like getting all that stuff infused with it. And I've learned so much. Like I think that part is really, really cool. I think it's cool. Like I'm not saying other people will think it's cool, but we wanted to make things that we thought were cool and that we enjoyed kind of for us. And I think that just put us on sort of a good path. But it was like, it isn't just the veneer. Like Micah thinks about holistically, what is that experience? So 120 dice comes out of, as you get more powerful, you get more dice, and you literally, so you feel it, and then you get to express it. So it's like, I gather the dice, and before it was 10 and now it's 14 because I had an upgrade. And then I roll the dice, and then those dice are going onto the table and they're clacking all around. And then I'm interpreting them and I'm seeing it. And it's like, I had
so much fun. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But when I did my unboxing, I did so many videos of just dropping the dice. And I do every once in a while, I post like just fun outtakes and stuff on, TikTok and Instagram. And that's one of them that I'm still working on. But it was like, I took one bag and then the next bag and
Yeah.
Well,
And
and
it ended up being like 30 seconds long. Of
awesome.
It was
Well,
so cool.
Yeah, and like that's for us. Like, what do we want to do? What do we think is really fun? And
Mhm.
and this is not a minimalist game for people
No,
that love minimalism and like ease of simple.
sure
Like we
isn't.
even had conversations around like, okay, this thing is kind of this is a lot of physical stuff. Is there a
Mhm.
way to reduce it or simplify it down to this thing to where it's only this one thing? And it's like, yeah, like
But
you can
why?
do that, right? But you lose
Like
the heart of
upgrading the
it.
ship,
Yeah,
turning the page, and
right.
it
And
could have been
again,
just one, thing, but
right.
why?
Well, exactly. And you start to again get affirmed in like, this is what I like. Not everybody's gonna like it.
Yeah.
Not everybody enjoys this type of thing, but I really do. And there are lots of other people that are going to as well, which I think we've we've gathered a lot of those people, and it's been awesome.
It's been
Look
very
at
cool.
we're live on BackerKit right
Mhm.
now, and how many people have backed this game?
Oh
We're
gosh.
like
What's
just
the
shy of, I
number?
think, 400.
Yeah,
But
Yep.
they've really
over
surprised.
400% or 320%. Is that what it is? What
Oh
is
no,
it right now?
we're approaching
Almost
uh
500.
Was it that much?
we're
Okay,
almost up
yeah,
to we're
that must have
approaching
been yesterday when
500%.
I looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that
Yeah,
like the things that you like.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah, I mean,
how exciting!
yeah, so I mean, I don't know how much you guys like talk about like the back end of crowdfunding, kind of all those things, but it's like we had our projections, we had our spreadsheets, and
Mhm.
and one of the things that's just really surprised us is like people aren't kind of just going in a little, they're like
Mhm.
going in hard.
Yeah.
And that's been really cool. So it's like we have like 400 or so people, but like the current average is twice the cost of the core game,
Right.
because it's in, that,
Congratulations!
man, we just
That's
didn't
so
know. We were like,
exciting.
we think this is cool. We think extra dice are cool if you want extra
Right.
dice.
Mhm.
We think that, Micah designed I got a table mat from my Slay the Spire
Mhm.
purchase when I got the big giant table mat.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like I
Uh-huh.
put it out for all kinds of games.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this would be really
Like a big
awesome
mat.
if
Yeah.
we had a big mat. And it was like, but what should it be? Because we don't just want something just because we want
Right.
to sell it or what. Like we
Right.
want a cohesive
Right.
kind of thing. And it was just like, I mean, a map. It's
Yeah.
a map of New
Yeah.
Caribbean. We've created
right.
this world. And so the joy of thinking about what you want and what you want to do first and foremost, rather than, and I don't know that people necessarily do it, but I definitely felt like a push from more the businessy side of things for
Right.
people to be like, well, this sells really well or this or that. And it's like, I
Mhm.
hear you, but like, and you, since you don't know, you almost sort of get pulled and you have to sort of deal with
Sure.
it. But it was like, nope, back to fundamentals. Make a game that we want to play.
Mhm. And
Make
you can
things that
tell.
we want.
You could tell that this is definitely a passion project, that a lot of thought and a lot of love has went into it.
Oh, that's cool.
My unboxing and the time that I had with it, I didn't actually get to play it fully. I kind of played, like I set it up a 2-player game, and I just kind of, acted as if I was playing, but
Yeah.
I didn't play a full game with myself. I'm not that weird, but I
That's
did
not
really
weird at all.
enjoy it.
I was about to say that is the number of times I play card games against myself where I get up and walk to the other side of the table
Oh yeah,
and try and like put myself in the brain of like, okay, you don't know this information, so how
exactly. Yep, and you got to be fair, unbiased.
Exactly.
So the game that I did this most recently with was The Spill. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of
Where you're
it, yeah.
saving the sea turtles and all the things from the
Yep.
oil spill.
Yep.
And it is a big game. So yeah, it was me like literally walking around the table, like picking up the dice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great.
But yeah, I'm loving to hear all about, you could tell me all the back end. I love to hear all about the creation of it. So what was the hardest part of actually getting your vision to life?
Ooh, there's been so many milestones, so many interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'd love to hear your perspective. I've been chatting it up over here.
Well, I mean, I could honestly say whatever Nick wanted or whatever Nick has been doing has been the hardest part, because some of the stuff that he's worked through and the project management side, the connections, the frameworks, like he's built the skeleton of everything that we are, and put a lot of meat on it too. I'm not even really sure what I'm doing. I don't know.
Get out of here.
But no, and I guess that makes sense. Like, it's so out of my wheelhouse in the way that I think. But it is a reality of the process, like you have to get quotes on manufacturing. You have to, figure out how to connect to the right people for fulfillment, how it works. What is taxes? What are VATs? Like, do you pay state taxes? Do you pay that? Like, there's just like so many layers to it. What is profitable? What is the margin on a particular set of orders? And like, there's just so much there that blows my mind. From the art side, it's been a blast, but everything that we committed to from the beginning has been fantastic, but a journey to work through. Like, we don't really reuse art. Like, everything is unique in the plunder side of stuff. And so there's like 100 different drawings that we're doing for like each individual thing, or and not to mention that even in the beginning of the journey, like we kind of hit different doors with how our style evolved in the game, because it didn't start looking the way that it looks. It's probably been completely redone like 4 or 5 times.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so just like really honing in on what is authentic to the thing that we want to express in this world has been a fun but difficult like thing to navigate and figure out how to put your finger on it. And once you get it, how do you capture that across the entire scope of what it is you're trying to present? I talked in a bunch of circles probably, but
no,
yeah.
So when you've been working on something for so long, how do you know that it's done? Like, how do you, okay, this is the final, like no more changes, like this is it. How do you do that? How do you put that cap on it?
I think
how do you do that?
Well, look, again, I can speak to the art side of it. Like the difference, I think, is like in fine art, it can tell you those things a little bit easier. Like, it can be what it needs to be in the end, and it will, if you're paying attention, it will kind of say that. Whereas a board game, I think you get some of the same cues, but the reality is like you can iterate styles and ways of coloring and how you frame and do UI design, and you could probably iterate on that forever and just keep going. But we had a couple of like core values set for how we wanted things to feel and what we wanted it to do, and so that always acted as a filter and kind of a course correction for things that we would start to do. And from the practicality side, just letting as many people play it as we possibly can, and no matter how short or how long the game, seeing that they're having a blast, we're like, okay, because there was stuff we were legitimately worried about. We're like, oh, this could take a couple hours, and we've never had anyone checking their watch or like, I don't know, like, like they're always can we play again? Can we do it? Like, we just.
That's not 100% true. I've had a couple of people.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, that means
no, and it's totally fair. They thought they were getting one thing and they got something else. It was at the first.
Oh, the bait and switch.
Yeah, it was at the first experience playtest hall at Gen Con, and they thought they were going to be playing a different game, and they were like,
oh, you're talking about literally a bait and switch.
Literally.
That's right. Yeah.
Because we didn't understand how it worked. And so they thought they were signing up for one game, and they were like, okay, we'll help you out with our 2 hours of time here. And I was like, oh no, are we? But even that was helpful.
Were there any iterations, anything that was down the line that was just an epic fail?
Nothing that was not in this game that was a horrendous failure. There's been some others where the entire game was a horrendous failure, but
it's crazy. I just kind of want to say this. People talk about zeitgeist and culture. People talk about like, it seems serendipitous, or if we're too, like, there's something in the air or the culture that makes certain things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes that's directly leaked information or whatever it is, or you get 4 John Wick movie scripts at the same time and they're scrambling to make the first movie. But like what Nick is talking about is like one of our original ideas, I'm pretty sure this is what you're talking about, don't let me put words in your mouth, was like we basically came up with terraforming Mars before it was a thing.
Oh.
And it's different. It's different, but it was pretty much operating in a very similar thing.
And then the Martian comes out by the movie based on the book by Andy Weir, and I was like, why didn't we push harder before everyone cared about Mars, and then now no one does anymore? But
everybody still loves Mars.
Yeah. But that, I will say that's kind of like getting stuck on, like, it is tough whenever you kind of see these other things. It can be, you'd be like, oh man, they did it and they did it better. And it's like, I think what we've learned through a lot of this process, like they did it, but they didn't do your thing. Like you were going to have your thing and focus on your thing. And
there's space for everybody. There's such a huge pie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's everybody, there's a ton of pirate games, but none of them, none of them do the same thing. They're going to have different mechanics, different feels, different, outcomes. Absolutely. So there's definitely, I think, just room for everybody and every idea in the board game space. And that's one of the things that I love.
Yeah. That's awesome. Kind of going back to some of those values, like after we worked on it for a while, we're like, all right, let's get back to basics. Start from first principles. What are we trying to do here? Because I will say it was a great way for the two of us to stay connected over time and distance. Because when you're working on a project, it's just, I don't know, it's like the rest of the world respects it a little bit more, if that makes sense. Like you can make more time because it's ostensibly work almost. Whereas if the two of us are playing a game, that kind of thing, and we just enjoyed it. We enjoyed working together. And so I think that was enough for a long time for us, because I had my job, Mike had his job. And we got to a point where we were like, all right, I would say before this particular moment I'm about to talk about it was, if we end up with a treasured family heirloom, we'll be happy.
Okay.
Right.
And after I left Rockstar, it was like, I think we've been talking about doing more. I think we can do more, but what is it we want to do? And we just got it really simple, which is we want to put this game into the hands of other people who want to play it.
Yeah.
And even as simple as that is, it just cuts out all the noise whenever someone's like, have you heard this? What's this one weird trick to like, beat Kickstarter? It's like, you can put all of that kind of aside and you can focus on your thing, and then you can educate yourself and you can kind of grow. And when we start to lose course a little bit, it's like, we're not trying to create fans. We're trying to find them because they exist. And my answer, the hardest thing would be marketing.
Okay.
Amen.
And I think that comes back to Micah respects the work that I do, but that work for me comes naturally just because I've done it. In the same way that I respect his illustration. It's like, how could
great partnership,
and so that works. Marketing was not one for either of us.
No.
And realizing, we had to get it right in our minds at first. I had a very negative view of marketing, a very pessimistic, I had worked alongside a lot of marketing and things like that. And it's like, how do you extract value from people? How do you fool people and take their money? That's not what I was pursuing.
Way to go about it.
And so I had this. All right. Yes. So I just had this I would feel sick thinking about like, oh, we have to market, we have to do this. And it was like, it's because I did view it that way. But the second we said, look, our goal is to find people who like this. Oh, that's what marketing is.
Right.
So whenever I do this thing over here, and again, it's like such a small thing, but mentally that was, I think, really important for me.
Sure.
Because it meant that we could run things in a way that respected our values and our views on how we want the world to be or whatever it is. So, but it's still really hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
and-
think so much marketing too is people aren't necessarily buying the game, but they're buying you.
Sure.
You know, people that I took one marketing class one time, and I will never forget that the teacher told us people buy things from people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah. Right.
So when you start putting yourselves out there and you're like the face of the game, you know, people are going to judge you, unfortunately. And that's a huge part of it. Yeah, it sucks. But, you know, I didn't know anything about the game, but I met Micah at the airport, and just the 5 minutes that we chatted, I wanted to know more about the game. Pirates aren't really my jam. I mean, minus this one. Like, I like pretty animals and cute stuff, and, you know, never in a million years would I probably pick up Red Tides off the shelf in my local game store. But because I had that interaction with Micah, I love this game.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's so fair. Yeah, it is.
You know, what's interesting is, like, I think the other part is neither of us wanted to do this. Like, I enjoy talking with you very much. Like, I would talk to you for forever. But I worked in social media, like, whenever it was becoming a new thing. And I started a lot of stuff for the companies that I worked for. And just the more I did it, the more I wanted to not be a part of it. So I spent probably 5 years, like, kind of extricating myself from a lot of this stuff. And so it was like, man, I think we kind of knew, like, what you're saying is that, like, it's not like we're special, but we are a part of it. We're you know, it's not someone going to Target and just buying some game off the shelf. And so that was probably the second hard thing. So related to marketing was, like, kind of accepting that with all the nervousness of, like, but what if people are, and kind of dealing with those things. That's been, I mean, we're as much therapists for each other about some of that stuff in a way, because, you know, it's a great example is I had one person who, not even mean, like, they were very respectful. I asked them a question and they were like, yeah, the art style's not for me. And wonderful, thanks. But do you know what stuck with me for the next week was that the art style wasn't for this one person, despite the day before
300 other people.
Right. Or, you know, Adam from Tabletop Vibes, who was like, I have a sleeve of pirate stuff and I want to get some of your stuff on my sleeve.
Oh, I love that.
Which would be cool. I don't know how serious he was. Maybe we should pressure him into 100%. Being serious.
No, he'll do it. I love him. He's the best. But, I actually just was at his house in May.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Oh, it's been helpful. I mean, but yeah, so, like, kind of taking those steps and just, I guess, realizing, like, we don't have to know it all. We just need to progress. We need to take a step and then we'll learn and we'll talk to people. And so, you know, you and Adam and other people have actually been helpful kind of on that side. You know, Adam just sitting down and we were like, hey, how do you mentally deal with this? And he's like, yeah, here's what I do. And
the best at that, because we've had that conversation also. You know, because I'm, like I said, I'm very, by nature, very introverted. And but when I find, like, my people, I won't shut up. But, you know, and he said when he walks into a room, he acts like he knows everybody. He acts like he belongs there. Like, he's of that mindset that, you know, he has what people want, and and people want to know him, and I absolutely adore him.
That's really cool.
Great guy.
Awesome.
I will say, in the data, so I can see in our marketing the difference between the game by itself and then the game with us. So exactly what you're talking about, like, we struggled for a long time to find, like, you know, so we've been working with a consultant called Launch Boom, who was extremely helpful, but our game is just, I think we're weird. I think we're a weird game compared to what they normally do. And so it was like, all right, so does this mean there just isn't a market for the game? But we knew that wasn't true because we go to conventions. And, you know, one of the most heartwarming stories is, like, a guy who played our game at our first playtest at PAX Unplugged in 2016.
Oh, wow.
And he came back and found us last year and wanted to play again. You know, like, We had been
I
on
love
his mind.
that.
The year after the first one, he brought his friends back to play, even though we weren't actually
Yeah.
testing, but we had the game, and so we broke
Mhm.
it out so that they could play it. And
Yes.
and we've gotten opportunities to be at the backer kit booth because no one signed up, and we were like, "Can we crash your booth and just be out here on the floor and demo and sort of guerrilla tactics it?" And it's like we could see that there was a response, and we were trying to fix the formula. Like, what is it? The picture? Is it the words? Is it this? Is this that? And all that stuff matters. But where we saw the real difference is when we started talking about the game in our advertisements, like literally just, hey, I'm a guy. I'm talking to you like I would anyone else. This is what I get excited about. Here you go.
Friend, we did it together.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's interesting, so you hear that in a class, you hear that from other people, but to like, I have statistical proof of how
numbers don't lie.
Yeah, which is interesting and encouraging, and it's made me less reticent to film things, but it's interesting. So
did you have to twist your arm to be here?
Here, no.
No. It's a pleasure. We enjoy this.
Right.
Like you're great, and
good,
it's like, again, I'm glad that's been our experience by and large, and we know that's not always the case with everybody and everything. And one of the best parts, I think we as humans, we're so much more easily wired for the negative. Like, it resonates, we hear it, it like gets in deep. Like, there's something in psychology about needing to hear something 4, 5, 6, 7 times that's positive to erase the one negative.
Yeah, the one guy that didn't like the art.
Right.
He wasn't even like angry or negative about it. He just says it wasn't for him.
Right. Which is a much better response than some of the stuff that occasionally you get.
It could be worse.
But yeah, but I also, the realization is that when people have a visceral response to something, there's probably something there to explore. There's probably some value there to understand.
For sure.
And the worst thing you can do is be indifferent. And we really haven't got much indifference. And so we've got people that absolutely love it, to the point that, they're writing stuff that it's kind of cheesy, but makes me tear up. And then others that are just like, I wish you were dead and I want to burn your house. This came in as there. But it's like on that bipolar, which is great. It's like, oh, okay, like, this is actually,
it is certain.
I'm gonna get this tattooed on me. That's a huge honor for an artist, right?
Apparently there's a big market in the EU and the UK that really loves this game.
Awesome.
And they've probably been exposed to it the least. But what we found is, like, they're the ones who are actually reading the page and looking at the videos and pouring through the rule book and looking at the art in comparison. Like some of the write-ups that we've got even in the past week, it's been so fascinating. It's like, wait a minute, you saw that, you noticed that, you like that, like that. It's been so cool.
They went through the lore all the way at the back of the book.
Right.
Yeah. It is funny. Like, I think watching people play board games is like, and the choices they make is kind of like a personality test almost. I don't mean in a test, but it's like you just learn things about people.
Absolutely.
And I think the same is true with like the types of games that you design. I've seen that amongst designers. You're like, wow, that, from what I know of you, this is directly an outpouring of your brain, like onto cardboard. And then the newest.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
One of my favorite podcasts that I listen to right now is a board game podcast, Operation Game Night. Have you met those guys?
No, I haven't
at all. So Operation Game Night, it's 3 guys that are in the Air Force. That are buddies. They've been playing board games, together for years and years and years. And they were just talking about this the other day about because they've all been like restationed and have moved, and now they're trying to. They're talking about finding their game groups again and how to do that. And one of them had mentioned that, one of them had asked the other, like, do you think you're gonna ask some of the other coworkers, the other, in your squad or whatever. And one of the guys was like, you can just kind of tell like who might be kind of receptive to playing some board games and who carries themselves where they would not be interested at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a really interesting conversation. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And probably the exact same, like you said, with designers, like I know you, and this tracks. This makes
Absolutely.
sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
One other question I have about the whole, 10/12 year design process, was there any time that you just put it down and were like, what are we doing? Like, this isn't happening. We're not, was there any time where
so
any
there's definitely,
or just where you were just like,
well, there are deserts of activity or focus.
Yeah.
Like especially, before I stopped working where I was before, I was like, just how much energy and effort I was putting in there. Also at home and things like that. It just I wasn't making it a priority.
Sure.
But I don't think there was ever like a time of kind of on that side of this game isn't working or
so
less about the game, our relationship.
It's always been, we're making a game, not like, when did it go from kind of just like a pipe dream to like, this is actually like, we're really doing this?
What, about a year and a half ago?
Okay.
A year ago?
Probably more. I mean, honestly, in my
for you, we should.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I know that there's in the back of my mind, there's always the you don't know what you don't know, and that could be oceans. But yeah, I felt pretty confident shortly before COVID actually happened that we would.
That's right. I forgot
about
that.
To launch.
We were about to make a big push.
Yeah, we're about to make a big push, start, doing like more community building for pre-launch and things like that. And then when COVID happened, it got crazy.
Just obliterated everything.
If you already had a game going, it was probably a great time for you, but
yeah, perfect
like
timing.
even a guy that I knew had just finished a very successful campaign, and his shipping costs went from like 10,000 to like 80,000. And he's like, we can't, like, it took him like almost 2 years to straighten it out, but his backers were great. They stuck with him, and like they worked it out, but it was like a 2-year logistical financial nightmare. And so like, in a lot of ways we were like, okay, maybe that's a sign. Like we wait for it. We try to, but yeah, so in my head, it was like just before COVID, but yeah, probably much more recently, within about a year or two, we were like,
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I had kind of forgotten about that. I think we were ready then, and then it kind of got sideswiped. The thing I'll say is, like, I don't. This is weird. As much time as I spent thinking about creating things and worlds and writing and making fantasy, I don't like to fantasize.
Really?
Yeah, it's
that doesn't track.
Yeah. So, and I think what it boils down to is I don't want to create discontent with my life.
Okay.
So it's maybe a little philosophical, but it's like, my wife wanted to play a game with me one time where it was like, hey, let's imagine we won the lottery, and what would we do? And it became a big project for me, because then I had, in this fantasy world, I had all this money, and that means I have power and responsibility and
people coming out of the woodwork, and how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I won't get into the details, but it was like, I realized, I was like, I don't think that's the point of this game. And so whenever it comes to this project, I think that I like to live in the moment, the here and the now. I like to take one step, put it in front of the other. I think about what is possible, but I don't draw my inspiration from what is possible if it's dependent on other people's behavior, if I can, and so what I
very healthy way to operate.
I'm not saying I do it all the time, but I try to sort of do that. And so, I tried to get like a normal job after my last job, and it in the video game industry, like, it has been brutal. I mean, literally tens of thousands of people have lost their jobs. And I kind of hit a point where I was like, I don't want to just put my energy into something that is up to someone else, or there's a limit to that. And I still want to be productive, and I still want to create, and I still want to connect, and I want to work, and I want to do these things that I enjoy. And I kind of clicked over in my head. I was like, if we don't make the game now, like it was the confluence of all these things of, hey, that really, like, looking for jobs really, really sucks. And I have time, and I have this thing I want to do. And so I think from there, it wasn't like, oh, wouldn't it be great if, for me, it was more like, let's put the work into this, because, and a lot of our focus has not been on like, how much money do we need to raise? It's been, how do we get the game in the hands of people? And even if we lose money, and we can't lose all the money, but will we learn? Like, are the things that we're doing helping us learn? Like, are we growing? Like, and then I started to realize, like, it could be a real business. Maybe not cover everything, but like and then it was like, I would love to be able to do this for all of my energy, towards that. And so, the crowdfunding is moving us a step closer to that, which is cool. But the learning that we've had, like, it's
insane.
Yeah. The game was not the hard part. I'm not saying that it's not.
Right.
It's just
everything
else. And I was a little reticent to get involved in it, because I actually kind of perceived it would be really hard, and I knew that I would not be happy unless I could really invest in my own time, energy, and effort. And so that was kind of some of the other things that slowed me down. And despite trying to imagine how hard it was going to be, it has been so much harder, but extremely rewarding.
Extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
So other than Red Tide, are we working on anything else?
Yeah.
No spoilers if it's okay.
Yeah, no. I would so
short answer is yes.
The short answer is yes. And there's 2 games that I think are worth pursuing. We're going to be testing one of them, which we've been kind of testing in the background. It's it is a card game. I talked about my card games. It's basically, it's a 90s style fighting game, like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. And so it's mano a mano, or whatever. I don't know. And so it's kind of like, you control your fighter and your resources. So like in Magic, your resources is your mana. In this, your resource is your fighter's body. So you actually physically have components of your fighter's body kind of arranged.
Like an arm getting
you have
bigger.
2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and a head. And in order to like do an uppercut, you have to like, tap your arm and things like that. And so it's kind of like Hearthstone in terms of the simplicity of how it plays meets Street Fighter. And I love it.
It's a lot of fun. It is the polar opposite of what Red Tide is.
It is so different than Red Tide. So we're calling it Duel right now because
boy, we got dual everything in the board game world right now.
Again, we were on this years ago. We're just slow, I guess.
We can call it something different. It is a duel.
Well, no, it's just that a lot of board games. It seems like this year are all coming out with like
the 2-player version.
That are like the duo duel.
Right. Like Seven Wonders Duel, which is not this year, but
Everdell Duo came out, and a Res Arcana Duo. And Azul Duel. And
all right, well, let's change that. We'll call it Fight Time. That's the new name, Fight Time.
90s fighter.
So it's inspired by those kind of 2D fighting games. There is no art. There is no, but
not yet.
Well, and,
been a little busy.
And
I actually have made a little bit of art. I did some I did some like action shots for some trackers that I put
because
way
you
too much
kind of
time
have like a
into.
range between your fighters. So like, are you far enough away to shoot a fireball? Or are you close enough to like smell their breath? And
Ooh,
you know, and you can do different things of different types. So I think it'll be you essentially get a fighter, and there's multiple fighters, and there might be some deck building within that fighter. So it's somewhere in between kind of like an LCG and a like a pre-con pre-constructed kind of situation. But then, you know, we can have guest designers to make fighters for other things. And then from an art perspective as well, like we can go into pixel art for some fight. Like you could have skins of fighters, which I like. Like I want the pixel art version of my fake Dalsum.
So fun.
So anyway, I'm excited about them. The other one would be actually a prequel to Red Tides. So, you know, it's called A Tale of New Caribia, with an idea that there are other tales. And so the working title for that one is Blades and Black Powder, which I don't know if you played like X-Wing and Armada, the miniatures games. It doesn't seem like it's given what you've said what you'd like. But so I'm
girly, like casual, you know, animals and cute stuff.
And so X-Wing little miniatures game, this is not a miniatures game, but it's very tactical. It's like moment to moment, how do you react? Armada is about big ships moving through space, and you have to plan ahead. And I would say that Red Tides is kind of more in that vein of it is a strategy game where you are making tactical decisions, but you're moving the arc of your success over time by thinking about the challenges and whatnot. So it's kind of that strategy side. So Blades and Black Powder kind of flips it the other direction. And instead of managing this big ship that you're equipping, you have an individual person. And so you are kind of the captains that helped Davies become the leader of New Caribia. And you're going around and you're exploring islands to basically like procure the items of power that he had. And so you play a different role. You have a little paper, I call it a paper doll, but like you have your character sheet allows you to equip hats and guns and swords in the same way you'd sort of equip your ship. And you play different roles, and you're trying to defeat. So it's a boss battler, I guess, but more closer to like a traditional dungeon crawler in a way, but less about the miniatures. It remains abstract, uses dice, not as many. We would like to use the same dice, so that way you have like interoperation between the two systems, but it's like a
standalone expansion.
It's probably going to be too different, but who knows?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, at one point in time, we were trying to like make them work together, you know, like as like a mega game. Who knows? But just like the thing is like
game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you could play this and then you could do that. But the thing that it's like we don't want to just make more dice just because we can make more dice. Like, especially what we weren't prepared for was the people who bought extra dice in our game. Like, people have bought
all the dice.
Just like how many dice would I have to have in a 4-player game to not repeat, to not have to share? And I was like, oh my goodness. So
give the people what they want.
Yeah. And so it's like I think it would be great if you could then use those dice in other games, because like you already have them, they can work. But
and they just became the best dice that you can possibly get. Like we had a stretch goal that was mold injection, and so now like every single 100 and some odd dice that you get will be mold injected dice.
So which is a great, I will say as well, like when it comes to our stretch goals and things like that, like they're not fake. I don't we did not break apart the core game to create an expansion.
No.
And I don't know if that matters to people, but
that's a hot button in the industry. It really is.
Yeah, it's like we weren't going to release the expansion because we were like, we don't want people to feel like that. Like I have felt like that before. I'm like, why didn't you include this in the main game? You know? And so So we did try our absolute hardest to make sure, like, our stretch goals, we literally couldn't afford them if we didn't hit the price points that we hit. It's like we're going old school crowdfunding. How I imagine what I thought crowdfunding was for the most part. I don't know how other people do it. I probably shouldn't be saying this because but the perspectives are just like, how do we, like, we literally, this is funding the game.
Right.
And the funds we get are going straight into it, and it's going to allow us to make it. We're going to get it to people. And even if no one else understands that, if they listen to your podcast, they might.
That's right.
That's what makes us happy. So we're going to keep doing that, and as long as we can.
That sounds wonderful. So let's talk just a little bit about Backer Kit. How many days left do we have? It'll be Saturday when we release. So in 2 days.
13.
What's the countdown?
13 from today.
13 days from today.
11
days.
11 days from the listening day.
That's right.
And then will you have late pledges open if necessary?
Yes. I mean, I can't see a reason not to.
Right.
I would love to hear your perspective or other people's kind of perspective on it. Is like, I mean, we will start the production process at that point in time, essentially. So the game is 98% production ready. 95. But yeah. Do you know any reason why one wouldn't keep late pledges? Is there drama around
a numbers game? It's really a numbers game from your aspect. Like, how many do you commit to, that aren't pre-sold?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Right.
So how many extra do you want to commit to with a late pledge?
Yeah.
Right.
I see.
Absolutely.
Is there any drama of which we're unaware about the practice of late pledges? I've seen some interesting stuff out there recently around, like,
not any that I've experienced. I can say I appreciate the late pledge because I am chaotic in nature, and I'll think, I've got another week till I can commit to it, and then it was actually yesterday, and then I'm like,
yeah.
When there's a late pledge, I always appreciate it. And I have definitely purchased many a game from the Game Steward .com, which is exclusively like crowdfunded, exclusive, like Kickstarters and stuff like that, because I have that, like, I need all the good bougie metal coins and all the dice and the playmat. And if I missed the boat with the crowdfund, like, I'm thankful that there is another outlet to be able to still get that. So I know some people don't probably agree with that because they did the crowdfunding and they, but I appreciate it just from my, my standpoint, and and also financially, you can't always back everything that you want.
Right.
And I know a lot of people are probably finding themselves in questionable times. So, if there's something that I love that I just can't, I have a couple of things on my list right now that is not the season. And hopefully be able to get it in the future. So I love late pledges, but I'm such a, like, I'm probably not the typical board game or just human where I see the best in everybody and I want the best for everybody, and I don't see any negative, and I'm not going to be mad that you got it too, even though I pledged it a year ago. I just want everybody to have everything and be happy and merry.
I mean, we've been very certain to not call things even crowdfunding exclusive or whatever. We like there's some, I guess, kind of like cost challenges around it. Like, for instance, we're trying to get a box that fits everything, but it's going to double our shipping. What's that?
Including the mat? No,
not include. Okay, sorry. Everything except for the 42-inch mat.
But the mat does come in a really sweet stitched
Carrying case.
Carrying case.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah.
But like, for example, for that, like it's going to increase the price of shipping significantly, because if the box is double the size, our shipping costs, like from the manufacturer, literally doubles in size, because we're not transporting rocks and stuff. Like, it's all volumetric for ships. And so it's like, if we do our entire order on that is a really like scary kind of like financial situation for us. And so when we're looking at it, it's like, okay, how many backers do we have? And, how can we get them that? Because, they're making it happen. And so we want to give as much as we can. But like you said, that future, like, what we don't want to do is play on people's like fear of missing out. Like, and that's one of the ones where it's like, where we're getting advice of like, hey, maybe you shouldn't say you're going to have late pledges, because then you won't get that good rush at the end. But it's like, people got to live their lives and do things. And this is what we're doing. And we want to make sure we're doing it out of respect for the people.
Please everybody.
Yeah. Right. And so yeah.
Well, we're still cutting our teeth, like we're first time creators. Like we understand that because of just how much stuff is out there, like there is a lot of hesitancy on some people's parts. They want to see performance. They want to know they can trust you. They want to see like, okay, well, how did they run their campaign? And, and so I don't fault them for that. If they want to jump in at the end, great. If they want to see how everything shakes out and like, okay, if I back this now, what do I get based on what they unlocked, and how does that look? Like, that's all very valid. Like, and that's even too, like we talked about, you have the option to open up like stretch pay for different levels and tiers if it's over a certain monetary value. And so we're like, like, why not? Like people, if they want to do this, should be able to do it in a way that they don't feel so like injured by the car, so so there's a lot of stuff that we're trying to feel out and be sensitive to, and recognize it's not a one size fits all thing, and just try to do right by the people that like what we're doing.
What I can say with certainty is we've raised enough to order the game
and fulfill
and we will have enough to sell afterwards as well. So this isn't the only, like, our goal is to continue to sell on our own store, on other places where our Red Tides is not going to be in Target. They don't have a shelf that works for a game like Red Tides. But yeah, so everything else that's happening in the crowdfunding really is bonus and helpful. Like, it helps it, we can produce it more efficiently, which means that we can, add some of these things, which I almost just released a stretch goal inadvertently, but add some of these other things to put that back in.
We're playing a game with our stretch goals that has been so fun. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but it's a pirate game. So we got a treasure map, and your ship's navigating the treasure map, and you're unlocking things. And I think a lot of board gamers can probably figure out maybe at least the area of what it might be. And there's some flavor text there, and then so we're just kind of having fun gamifying it a bit. But yeah, Nick almost threw a spoiler out.
Awesome. Well, you guys, it's been awesome chatting with you. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I want to make sure that we have all the links, all the things, where can we find you? How can we get in touch with you? Tell me everything, and I'll link all of it in the show notes below. But obviously, first and foremost, check it out on BackerKit right now for the next 11-ish days. And then where else can we find you, get a hold of you? What's the best point of contact?
So I would say, if you're not sure what to do, if you just type Red Tides board game on the internet, like whatever you will find us through that. So if you're not sure what Backer Kit even is, because we know that some people are like, why is this Kickstarter called Backer Kit? So it's exactly the same thing. But yeah, Micah, where's
we have a website.
Website?
You know,
Okay.
So tortugasgames.com, really simple, tortugasgames.com. That's the same name for we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, and it's all Tortugas Games.
Perfect.
And YouTube.
And YouTube now.
And
we have a YouTube, we have some live streams on there. But yeah, we also have a Discord as well. We have a BGG listing. So, you know, we're trying to do it right. But yeah, anybody's welcome to come join the Discord server. We probably hang out there the most. We have a great group of folks that are already playing the game and enjoying it through different means and have play tested. And so they're all on there commenting and cheering and like we're having a good time during the campaign. So if you do Discord, that'd be a great way to connect.
Is it available on like Tabletop Simulator or?
So we have a version in Tabletopia, which is basically, you know, it's we thought that it was a little bit, it was easier to use. I guess I don't need to justify it, but I always justify it in my head.
Browser based, a little bit more.
It's browser based. That was the biggest thing, is that you don't have to own TTS in order to play it.
You're always thinking about the people.
We're trying. We really are.
I mean, you go to sleep better at night when you're just like, you know, you try and do good things. So
that's true.
You know, there's yeah, so we do have a Tabletopia version, which is not broadly available, but for folks that are asking on Discord, we are hosting. I mean, Micah spent 4 hours earlier today.
Had a blast.
That's awesome.
And we probably will make it available at some point in time. We're just trying to kind of figure out how to. It doesn't quite meet our standards for.
That's fair.
Maybe we're being too nervous about it, because it's like you take you take a something that is about holding 20 dice in your hands, and then you make it like a awkward button click, and it's just like, how can we make that?
Doesn't have that satisfaction.
Right.
But everyone says it at least gives them an idea of how it actually works. So
absolutely.
The Discord, website, Facebook, Instagram, all the things, just Tortugas Games.
Tortugas Games, that's right.
All right. Well, thank you again, guys. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm so proud and excited for you, and can't wait to see what else comes from Tortugas Games. And I hope to chat with you again really soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Amanda.
Thanks so much. It's been awesome.
All right, bye-bye.